Okay, so I want to start with hello, everybody. I want to start with a thought I was just having where I was briefly upstairs before it completely slips from me. I'm also multitasking and making a simple dinner. Um, but basically, it's the idea of, and I just started. But sometimes I just start and there's suddenly three people there right away. Or, I mean, it's YouTube, but there's a lot on YouTube and, a lot of things kind of go unnoticed for a while. But, you know, um, when people are here, it's great. And that's kind of what I want to talk about. But first of all, I just want to quickly say that there is, I can't remember how I worded it in my head, and I didn't verbalize it, so maybe that's why I can't remember it as well. But essentially, yeah, this will work, I guess. I don't know where the one is I've had it here the whole time, but essentially, that there's power in allowing yourself, whether you want to call it be vulnerable, be brave, or simply be, and show that. Because, and again, this I have thought of this before. Like, when you think of things like, oh, you're not alone or whatever, but you can feel it when you're not connected, or when you're not able to help somebody else, or you're not getting help. Then you can feel it. But the thing of the matter is that we're just kind of starting here, and it's not going to be a long one, but there's power in being brave, vulnerable, open, because you may find that not only, and the person left, but whatever, not only you're like, oh yeah, there's also a lot of anxiety with it, but other people may relate, may surprisingly relate. I've never understood the dichotomy or the mindset necessarily of, oh, I understand the idea, the concept of feeling alone. I understand, all the reasons it can feel like you are, whether you actually are or aren't. However, um, we're all human. We all go through stuff, right? And so I feel like even though I'm not doing a lot of heavy cooking or heavy lifting, yeah, I'm sure it's probably wasn't that long ago that he had it taken. So I'm just multitasking, but I'm cooking something very simple, so I can do this. I'm gonna move that up a little bit. So basically, and I lost you, but whatever. Also there's power in patience. I know it can be very hard, but I would, I struggle with, feeling like I'm waiting for a lot of stuff. A lot of time. Hello, Sunny. You're mostly being good, but I can tell you yeah, so basically, so not only might somebody be experiencing something similar. Oh, so yeah, that's the thing I was thinking to myself too. If I, even though I have sometimes a very strong struggle with that kind of thing, would I struggle? It almost had to be a little big, but it was the thing I didn't have to. Would I struggle if I saw someone do what I was doing and just kind of like, go to the stove and well, I know myself. You don't. I know that I would only be over there for a few seconds. But and also that I don't intend for this to be long. I never get distracted for super long. And when I'm podcasting, I really do try to be extra mindful of that. But anywho, not only may they relate, but they may be a step ahead. Welcome. Maybe a step ahead of a similar struggle, which then can offer you a solution. Or you might be a step ahead from a similar struggle and can offer a solution. There's so much that could be said on the topic of mental health. There really is. One thing I was watching a video before I started doing this one that reminded me that although we can use strategies and we can work on, what we're going through, and we can, seek support, whatever it is, um, it's not a choice. A lot of things aren't, that someone experiences, the good, bad, sorry. It's not a choice. A lot of people will understand this because they live with it or they know someone who does. But like depression, it's not just a choice of be happier. Because the truth of the matter is, for myself and a lot of other people, even though you deal with depression, you do have happy moments. You do. There is something, there is genetics, there is whatever. There is the state of the world we live in, but there also is something very powerful in the point of situational or lack of things in one's life, unmet needs and such that causes it. Well, how do you fix it then? Meet the needs, whether it's find ways to do it yourself or doing it for each other, and you don't have to have a degree to do it. You just have to be a fellow human, with lived experience, who has, like I say, either been through similar, knowing someone who has, and think of the times that you've helped somebody else that, in your, where you didn't even think, all you thought about was, I know or feel that this person is struggling. I care about them, and take action. You don't think about, oh, am I qualified to do this? You may take action and then find, no, I'm not, or you're not. Or you may take action and find, okay, I'm glad I did that. I think it helped, right? I'm just making a very simple dinner, and I just have to occasionally stir it. What's the other thing? Oh, so there was somebody that seemed to reach somebody there, even though they didn't stay. They stayed for that little bit of a spiel there. Mine has not been much of one to begin with. It's just been under 8 minutes, but like 2 minutes there. And either came back or somebody else is here. So welcome. I can't roll super long today. I'll take song requests for next time. I have lots of opportunities to roll this week with them. And in a way that's not super unusual, but it feels extra what's the word? True. It's probably no more true than a lot of the weeks, but it feels like it is more like it's just, I don't know. Anywho, I wanted to also state how even being there a little bit for somebody, even saying just a little bit of kindness, understanding. I was going to say, I briefly went to the stove, and for about 2 or 3 minutes after I came back, it was still showing me at the screen. Anywho, how even earlier today, I did a podcast, and there was somebody, and I kind of started it knowing that they were going to come from one that we were chatting in and come to this one, and come to the one I was doing rather. And they were there pretty quickly, and they stayed. Well, yeah, they stayed for an hour and a half. I'm not saying that people have to, but they stayed for about an hour and a half, which is about how long it was. And then I was just tired and wanted to do other things or whatever. And again, whether it's an hour and a half or 5 or 10 minutes, the longer, the more you'll get out of it. That both will, and make it worthwhile. But just we sometimes forget how lack of a different word, impactful that can be, not only for another person but even for ourselves. So like as in me and you, to whether you feel like you have it a lot in your life or not, feel heard, feel a reciprocal connection. Just stirring this for a second here. It's actually probably just about done, but so am I. It's what people need, and it's really not that hard to give, and there's mostly no right or wrong. As long as you're coming into it with a good heart and a open, empathic heart and mind, and putting your best foot forward, you have the power to make someone feel good, heard, seen, and make their day in a positive way. And we all need that sometimes, don't we? We all do. So think of the times when you needed it. Whether you got it or didn't, think of those times and do that for someone else. If you have lots of friends and family, sure, you can do it for them. But for a stranger too, it's. So there was then went down 2-1. But one of you's been here for about 4 or 5 minutes. I can't roll too much longer. I just need to strain some pasta. Pardon me, I'm multitasking. It's a bit late in the evening, but I was inspired by a video I'd seen. So if you have any thoughts as to what I was saying there, and you're just kind of waiting for a moment to kind of weigh in, and I understand sometimes it's hard when you're listening and trying to keep up, I'll hush for a moment and let you do so. And this is no fancy cooking happening here. But it is eating, and that's an important thing. Just looking under. More cheese right now. Yeah, so seems as though that resonates with the person who's here. I haven't been rolling super long, but it seems as though it does resonate, and I'm not surprised. Again, it's a very human thing, I'm just going to put on the light. I thought it was brighter in here, but I guess it's just starting to feel dark. Oh, that's better. Whew. It was dark in here, man. It was bad. Yeah, so I don't know what else there is to say, but there is, I guess, one thing that I always intend to say more often, and I'll say it because maybe the person here right now would benefit from hearing it, or other people would. I know I benefited not from the person I was referring to earlier, who, if they see this, you know who you are. Thank you. But I'm going to stop moving around in a moment. I'm just doing a couple of little things here. But yeah, basically, something that I'm looking for that I'm not seeing here, but that's okay. Yeah, so and we have 2 people here, and maybe it's 2 people that need to hear it, even from a stranger. I do not mean to be awkward in saying this, but whether you need to hear it or anyone who sees this needs to hear it, I can't necessarily say it as strongly as some people that may say it, because, and you both left, but whatever. But I'll say this, because nobody likes or gels with absolutely everybody. Nobody does. And there are some people who fallen off a good path. Maybe let's say it that way. But there are some people who truly seem to, and I mean like really heavy, bad stuff. There are some people who seem to not really try to do anything otherwise. There are those who are stuck, there are those who are trying, and then there are those who they just live for being that way. And that's and it's not all they know either. They didn't start out that way, and they don't have to continue that way. But it's hard once you kind of become known in certain ways. If they're not all positive, it's hard to sometimes undo that. But basically, so I can't say for sure, without a doubt, without knowing who sees this, that I can fully mean this for everybody that might see this. That being said, I do strongly mean it, and I do feel like for everybody, I could mean it a little, and for some people more. I mean, I don't want to say for some more than others. I'll relate to some people more than others. May think that some people are more deserving, but that does not mean that you can't be. And it does not mean that I don't send this out to you at least a little bit. You are loved, and you matter. Whether you know it or not. Whether there's what I was looking for. That's why I keep these on the counter where I can find them. Whether you know it or not, you are. And so, yeah. So, for the person that just tuned in, again, I understand I'm a stranger on the internet, but lots of people are. And they can say things, and sometimes we just need to hear it. And sometimes, and the viewer left. I was going to say, sometimes it doesn't matter who we hear it from. I was going to say it personally to them because nobody was actually here when they finally got around to saying it, and then they tuned in. And it makes me kind of upset. I'm putting something good out there, and then whether it's music or otherwise, sometimes it's not noticed, or sometimes just after someone will come in. But whether you wish to hear it, yeah, I don't know how to say it. And in some ways it's not awkward at all. And in other ways it is a little bit awkward to tell someone on the. Well, it's not even that I'm necessarily saying I love you. Maybe I would if I got to know you, if we got to know each other, and love can mean a lot of things. But maybe the way to say it then is you're loved. And I know there's actually a song that kind of I think of about this, but things are burning and I ain't got time to sing it. Nor do I really have the energy right now. I almost did the other day, and I did a few days ago. But yeah, so we'll leave it at that, I think. I really didn't have time. Often I do, but I really didn't have time to sit around and chat while live. After the fact, sure. A lot of times people see the video tab before they see the live tab, unless they know that the live is the more recent stuff, and if they're most familiar with me on this channel, then they know that's where they find me mostly. But yeah, so now I haven't really previewed what I'm going to watch with the other person in the house at dinner. I watched one thing, and I was relating to it so much. It's what inspired this, like I said, that I just kept watching that. And then I've been doing this and cooking, and so it'll be kind of first time for both me and the other person seeing what's next in my playlist. But yes, I just want you to know that, whether you feel it or not, you are cared about. There are strangers even that care about you, care about what you're in the viewer left. Both of them did, actually. But, just to finish off that statement, care about you, care about what you're going through, and want to be there for you. And sure, there may be slightly selfish reasons like sense of purpose, want some healing for the self. But that does not mean that they don't, that people that would feel that also do not strongly care about someone else, even strangers. And so I can say that about myself. I can say that, even though there might be other reasons, whether I should admit to them or not, I don't know. But you know what? It's human to kind of feel that, I think. And yeah, but also very, very strongly, want to be there to support you. And you shouldn't feel ashamed for needing the support. And even if you've been through times where you've tried and not gotten the support that you've needed, that can make it harder to reach out. But I urge it. I'm saying this myself, knowing what I can bring to the table and feeling fairly confident with that. I will admit, sometimes it's hard to find good help. But if you are someone who just can't follow through with taking your life, that's not a bad thing. It can mean that you keep living through struggles and pains, and sometimes more of that than not. And sometimes it weighs the heaviest. It weighs heavier than the good times, which you do enjoy experiencing. Of course you do. But it's still, and if you think that you could act out and take your life, I want you to hear a couple of things from me first. And I possibly should have started with this, but I was saying I was being approachable, and I was still being uplifting, and they happen as they're meant to. But whether you or someone you know or love, whether you suspect it or whatever, whether you've been through someone who has taken their life, I don't want to be misunderstood when I say this, because I say it with love. As we get to more people come in, we can't go backwards when someone does that, or when ourselves would do it. Spirit, I believe, does live on, and I don't believe that they are condemned. I feel like they've been through enough pain and struggle. We need to respect and understand their choice, even if it's hard for us, even if it's hard for us to accept it because we don't have them anymore. Well, hi, Cleo. And how are you feeling tonight? My husband and I came to say hi. Good advice. Oh, you're both here. Well, he's welcome to comment as well under his own. That would be lovely. But either way, happy you're here. I was wondering if I might hear from you today. I got to wrap up soon because it's not the nicest outside. The other person in the house, it's after 8 o'clock. It often is by the time we get to dinner. But we really want to get to dinner. But yes, I just wanted to state, so we have to accept it, respect it, understand, that if it's not us, that the person that we love was going through a lot, and they didn't do this selfishly. They probably really didn't want to do it to us, to you. They really didn't. And they probably battled with that a lot and thought, this is the reason why I wouldn't. But the pain, sometimes unfortunately bullying too, but the pain, the heaviness spoke louder, screamed perhaps. So know that it's not your fault. Could you have done more? If you've been through that, maybe. We all could at times, right? Would it have made any difference? Still, maybe not. Whether it was a professional or, and I hate to use that phrase because we all have the power. And if you're thinking about it, because we got 4 people here, that's a nice number. If you're thinking about doing something like that, I want you to know I understand. I want you to know that I empathize with that you're going through a hard time. I want you to know that I'm here for you. You don't have to be in your feelings alone, because that can be very dark and scary. Okay? So even if you don't know who else to reach out to, come to my channel, comment. It is a shared channel, and if it gets comments, the other person might see it, and to see deep stuff like that. Yeah, but at the same time, we both have enough heart to realize that if it's helping somebody, even if it's deep and hard, we do it because you know what else? I don't know why it says number 1 and then number 2. You know what else? There is a lot of beauty in the world, whether it's people, pets, flowers, places, art, music, things. And even if you can experience that from heaven, the song Dancing in the Sky has a lot of questions in it. And I feel that the answer to most of them is yes, as we get now 5 of you here. But they can be more enjoyed on earth. One thing I've learned as a channeler is that whether it's feelings, whether it's ability to help, whatever it is, it can still be very present from the other side, but it's strongest on earth. And that's sometimes why it's hard to keep going, because the feeling, but you also know that you can be numb. And if you need to be numb, thanks for all the hearts there. If you need to be numb, be numb. It's perhaps what you need to do. Like I say, you're a sweetheart, and if you're feeling that way too, know that you got 2 people over here sending you love and healing, and I appreciate that. Where is here, by the way? Where in the world do you live? The thing is that it's and those other people, they stayed during that big speech. They didn't like, but maybe they meant to. And don't forget to do so. It helps the video look good, to be honest. Some people go by that, before they actually take in the content. They look at the numbers, But yeah, I'm curious where it is that you watch from. And thing is that we only connect with each other when you know who's live or when we're live. Or I'm live. And the other person in the house is available, but it's had a long day at work. Had a bit of an interesting thing happen after work, and we do got to kind of get on with our evening. But I don't know why it says Crown 1 and Crown 2. Where's Crown Oil? Just kidding. But I don't mean to make jokes about alcohol, because I know that some people have difficulties with that. But Missouri, but not a state of Missouri, right? Well, actually, yes. Now, one thing is that, and I'm fine with it because I'm comfortable with who I am. Although I would say that we should watch that. And I know it's a big thing that people, I don't know how to address that, nor do I have time to right now. And I know you didn't mean anything by it, but the brother part, it's fine. However, it does kind of trigger me about missing my brother. You didn't know that. I forgive you. 2, even though I come across as a man, that may not fully resonate with me. But it's all good. And not saying necessarily me personally, even other people that you're come in contact with. So it's just a reminder. I know, again, you didn't mean anything by it. Thanks for the heart. Hearty heart. Like, I think it came from Cleo. I'm not sure. Has one come in, put a comment and a like as well? But yes, I've gotten very deep. I've said some things. This is going to be one of my shorter videos, but sometimes they are. For the 2 that tuned in, if you weren't here earlier for the other stuff, who's laughing? Is that you, Cleo, or so? I don't think it would be, because I don't think I said anything funny. I mean, maybe a little bit, but no, I really don't think I have. I've said a lot of sincere things. Thanks for the second like, and heart's over here distracting me, but it's all good. I've said a lot of sincere things. I've said things that hopefully are helpful. I just want to say one other thing. I wish that I could stand here and say that I was delivering these things as someone who has gotten through the struggles. I've seen moments that I have, but I still live them as well. So we got to remember the moments when we have shown strength and persevered. And we also got to, like I said, remember to be there for each other, check in with each other. Someone crosses your mind, maybe they're meant to. Even if, just check in, again, and if it's somebody, on YouTube and they're not live, come to one of the other videos, show it some love. I like I say, earlier today and then tonight, both people from the same person that we all follow, actually, you've made my day. And all you did was be here to chat for a few, whatever, 15, 20 minutes, whatever, do what you can. Make a difference for those that you love, and for strangers, help them reach the goals if you can too, because there's nothing more satisfying than the happiness of reaching a goal. Now you did say the thing again, but it's all good. Like I said, it didn't bother me hugely. I've got to head out, but I hope you have a great night. Keep your head up. So I thank you for that. I hate to leave when there's 4 of you here. If there's 3 of you here, if there's a song that you'd like me to wrap this up with, say it now, because I'm going to be wrapping up shortly. But I do thank you all for being here and for listening. And I feel like you're all here for a reason. On this podcast, on this earth. You have so much beauty. You have so much talent. You have so much to offer. Thanks for the hearts. Got 3 of you here. You want to come have dinner with us? 4 of you here. Want to come have dinner with us? Because we're about to have dinner. There's 4 to 3 people here. And I'm not saying, you know what I'll say to this? Because you all have been here for a while. If you're able to, obviously, this is resonating. And if you need help or suggestions as to how to do some of the things that I'm suggesting, because maybe I haven't said, I may or may not have them, but I can try to make suggestions. So just ask. And if you want more of this, in different formats, whether it's talking about psychology, whether it's doing music, whether it's being silly and goofy, then check out the live tab on this channel. If you want just classical piano music, check out the regular video tab. For some reason, the 2 different sections. And don't be shy to comment. Thanks again for the hearts. I don't know who's saying wow, wow, wow. Bow, chicka, wow. Sorry, don't mind me. Just the way I said wow, wow, wow kind of came up. What are you wowing about? Even if I wrap this up if you're intending to hit that one, before you've said, I'm curious. And we've got celebrations. I'm curious why somebody's going wild with the celebrations. That's cool. It's good to celebrate. Michelle, is it you saying, oh, this is a big win. This is a big win, what you're putting out there and what you're doing for yourself as well. And, I was looking for the wins and the celebrations and stuff. And I suppose it is. But Michelle, I think you'd be saying something. But then again, you've been a bit quiet today. A little bit, sort of, kind of. Anywho, got to wrap up. I hate to deal with this 3 of you here. I also will say, if you don't have time to check out other videos right now on this channel, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you have things that you'd like to hear about in the future on this channel, whether I wing it or give it some thought and then come to it, there'll always be a bit of winging it, whether it's because of comments or just in general, whether it's topics or songs, because I am a musician, I'm a performer as well. And I don't get out to perform very often, so I do it here, and I really appreciate having this outlet. If there's anything that you'd like to hear, put it in the comments. Hope everybody has a lovely day. Curious where you're watching from in the world. I only know where one of you is watching from. And take care. Sorry for the big hand gestures. I don't know why I did them, but take care. It feels, often when I wrap up, nobody's here. There's 4 of you here right now, and it feels so, and I don't mean to, when I wrap up, to interrupt you typing a comment. If you wait a few moments for it to come through, it'll come through. I would suggest selecting it, copying it, just in case, and then coming back to the video in the live tab if there's something you want to say, just because once I wrap up, it may take a few moments to process, and then I just want to make sure your comment comes through. What you have to say likely holds a lot of value, and I look forward to hearing it. We only got one of you here now, and I'm sorry to you, but I'm wrapping up now. Take care. Normally, I wouldn't be so rushed, but I am. So.